Listen up, get ready, I'm not gonna take no more. There's a revolution, a revelation going on in my soul. Buckle up, get ready, we're not gonna sit back.
Welcome back, all you citizens of the world. This is live from the Heartland for the week of February 14th. And leading up to this coming weekend, I received a lot of emails from the HotHouse, a wonderful venue here in Chicago founded by Marguerite Horberg. And she's talking in the email, in the last few months, there have been a lot of cyclones, flooding, earthquakes, power outages, devastating consequences for the people of the island of Cuba. We still have an American embargo and a lot of other countries in there on that. And they basically have always tried to bring Cuba to their knees. There's always been a lot of people, not only in Cuba, with a lot of resilience, but people on the outside giving support. Marguerite has been one of those people. And I invited her on to talk a little bit about her upcoming series concert for Cuba. And here she is. So good morning to you, Marguerite.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks for always having me come on to talk about Cuba. I appreciate it. So we started this initiative as a national project. And originally there were going to be cities across the country hosting a concert on the same day. And we are now 3 cities on February 16th, which is this Sunday: New York at the People's Forum, HotHouse at Constellation, and in the Bay Area at a place called the Chapel. And the 3 venues came together, 3 presenters, to try. Originally, our goal was to raise about $200,000 to buy parts for the electrical grid and for medical supplies. And so we've designated 2 partners. One is Global Health Partners, which regularly sends containers, shipping containers to Cuba with massive amounts of material aid, and the People's Forum, which has also been able to send significant amounts of aid through shipping containers. So those 2 recipients will be receiving all the proceeds from these 3 concerts that are happening on Sunday. Then there's a part 2, which is we're recording the concerts and re-editing them for a live stream on April 5th so that people can watch from around the world and also contribute with donations to the same recipients. So it's a pretty elaborate project. There's about 100 people involved in Chicago. We're super grateful for all the musicians who are donating their time and talent, and to the venue Constellation, which is donating the venue to us.
Let me just get straight here. So there are live concerts Sunday, the 16th in San Francisco, in New York, and in Chicago. And then the online concert is not at the same time. It's going to be on April 5th.
Correct. And
okay.
In Chicago, we have Grupo Cha-Cha, which is led by Lisa Gilly, Norberto Guerra and Charlie Mejias. And then James Sanders has put together the Proyecto Libre Super Band with some of our favorite musicians like Ed Wilkerson and Fred Jackson and Ari Brown and James Sanders. And we're bringing a special Cuban conguero coming from Madison, who's going to be with the guys. And also Joe Rendon, who everybody loves from his Congo playing, conguero. So we have a bunch of elected officials coming to give remarks, including the Commissioner Anthony Quesada from Cook County, Byron Cicho Lopez, Joe Ricard from SEIU, and Maggie Civet. And then we're also showing an exclusive to our concert, a new video made by Belly of the Beast to talk about the holistic situation in Cuba right now.
What time is the concert at the Constellation Room on Sunday?
Doors open at 8, concerts at 8:30, and it's at 3119 North Western, which is near Belmont and Western. Tickets are online through Constellation. You can buy either the live concert ticket, or you can also buy a ticket to watch the live stream of the concert Sunday.
So, Marguerite, just to sum it up, we've got concerts for Cuba taking place here in Chicago at the Constellation Room on Sunday at 3119 Northwestern. And I used to love going over that bridge that was there. It's gone now. But the Constellation Room is still there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this will be this Sunday, and then people who miss the concert can always hook up and see it on April 5th online. And you talked a little bit about, raising money to ship containers to Cuba. What's the actual status of that? And then talk a little bit about Cuba. I mean, can people travel freely to Cuba still? I went in through Canada in different ways in the times I've been to Cuba. I thought people could travel there legally now. And what's the situation with, I know things are in dynamic change mode these days, but on shipping containers to Cuba?
It's a little above my pay grade. I just watch, I get news all day, and it seems like I just got something 15 minutes ago where they cut all remittances to the island. So I'm not really an expert on all the nuances of, how the U.S. tries to, hamper trade and just travel. It's not my area of expertise. But
tell us a little bit about your just most recent trip to Cuba. What was? I'm actually still completely flabbergasted about what happened to me because, over the years we know of many people who've been detained at the airport, not only from Cuba but from other places, and they're asked questions, and usually they're released after people are satisfied. My situation was many, many more degrees of apprehension. Like I was put in a room without a lawyer. I was told the border has no legal rights anymore. There's no Miranda rights. You don't have a right to a phone call or access to a lawyer. Nobody knew where I was. I wasn't told why I was there, how long I was going to be there, when I would be, released, and nobody knew where I was. And so it was a really cold room. I was wearing summer clothes. I got kind of sick from that experience. They confiscated both of my telephones. They said they were investigating what was on my phone. They didn't exactly say what would satisfy them. And after 5 hours, I was able to leave, but they still kept my two phones, and I have no idea what data they, took or what they're going to do with it. And I find it really disturbing that, I had no purpose. There was no reason to apprehend me. I have no arrest record. I have all my family goes back 3 generations of being born in this country. My papers are in order, etc. So, I mean, just to sum up, it's, this idea that the border is kind of a civil rights free zone was really kind of an eye opener to me. And, I just feel like, I'm obviously a white woman, middle class business owner, no arrest warrant. And I just feel like if they have so much impunity to take me, the people who have far less resources or, are profiled in a different way are much more targeted and without recourse. I mean, I feel like I have no recourse because I haven't found a lawyer.
who can really represent me. I think lawyers are just overburdened right now.
Right.
And so,
What did they say anything to you when they let you go? Did they?
no, I mean, when I asked them why I was there, they said, you won the lottery, you know? So who knows what that means? It's like, clearly I didn't win the lottery. I mean, and my real fear is that, you know, because we have consciousness about how the U.S. empire works and how what's happened to people, like we know that they can manufacture cases against people, and we know that they're, you know, oftentimes not based on any kind of real, you know, something real. So I'm just personally, I'm afraid, you know, that I don't want to be on a list. Nobody wants to be on a list.
Well, Marguerite, you go back and forth to Cuba pretty regularly, and
Yeah.
I would imagine they know that you are a key organizer in Cuba support entertainment events here in the country. You brought Cuban bands, as did I, to the Heartland, and you know it's really a wonderful place. I mean, it's really suffered a lot, but it's I've been there only I think 2 or 3 times. The last time I went, they asked me if I had gone anywhere besides the Bahamas, and I said, yeah, I went to Havana, and they said, well, go over there. And I had a really nice border guard lady who's turns out her husband is Cuban. And I said, do you get a lot of Americans going to Cuba? She said, oh, yeah, all the time. Fisher,
Yeah, I mean, this
old
trip,
guys.
well, this trip to the Jazz Fest, there were maybe 100 people from Chicago, or, you know, Orbit Davis was performing at the festival with the Chicago Jazz Philharmonic. He brought a big crowd, and WDCB Public Radio brought a big crowd. So, I mean, all of us are traveling legally. We have licenses to travel. We're obeying, you know, 100% of the law. And, you know, it's just kind of, we're in a moment, as everyone knows, of just kind of lawlessness. And I would just say, you know, that one of the things that I don't think is talked about enough is how, you know, Cuba is basically an African island in large part. And they have like an outsized contribution to culture in the world, which makes it particularly compelling to go and, you know, see the art that's made in Cuba, because it's pretty extraordinary. And two, I mean, just the idea like of how African people have been separated in the diaspora, and that the U.S. feels also a compunction to keep Africans from, you know, communicating with each other, which is another faction of this embargo and this kind of the way that the U.S. behaves. Is just, you know, from an abolitionist point of view, I think it also should be challenged. And I mean, I just think we have the right to have friends where we want to have friends. And I happen to have family there, and I happen to have a lot of friends there. And, you know, I don't like to speculate, like, you know, give the U.S. any pretext for, you know, like, I don't like to say, oh, yeah, obviously, because I go there all the time, I should be on some list. No, I shouldn't be on any list, because everything I do is legal. And so I don't like to give the, you know, an end to this idea that, you know, somehow some people should be profiled, because I don't think that's right.
Marguerite, let me ask you, while you were there, can you tell us, cite any things you saw, any happy things, any sad things? You know, it's definitely a country that's been in the pressure cooker since 1959.
Yeah, it's really just extraordinarily difficult. I mean, even these trips we take, which emphasize, like, you know, you eat in a good restaurant, you go to the festivals, it's all run very well. You can have a wonderful tourist experience in Cuba if you have dollars, but the rest of the country is not living in that, you know, fool's paradise, and people are really suffering. Some days there's no water, there's no medicine. My friends took a train 24 hours from Guantanamo to meet me in Havana, just so they could take back, 400 pounds of medicine to take back to Guantanamo, because that part of the island just doesn't have anything. And, people are really disgruntled. They feel like Cuban government could do more. They're tired of the Cuban government. You know, it's exhausting. And living there is exhausting. But I have to say that in spite of all that, it's just amazing, like how that country functions, even with all, how hard it is to live there. And, people are very educated, people are very hospitable, and there's very little crime. But it's just heartbreaking to see, like, with all of these advances that Cuba has made in education and medicine and social organization, that there's still, like, just this object of so much, basically sadistic policy. And it's just something I think we all have to reject. Like, it's
Well,
just
let's
not.
see if we could help by turning out some people for your event that's coming up on Sunday, the 16th. Why don't you tell us one more time what time it starts, what the address is, where it's at, and who's going to be playing this Sunday?
Thanks, Mike. Okay, Sunday, February 16th.
Great Lakes Dragway, you're in Chicago talking about Cuba concert.
Sunday, February 16th at 8. Doors open at 8. Concert 8:30. Constellation. Tickets at Constellation on the website, 3119 Northwestern. We will also be selling T-shirts and photographs and other stuff to raise money. T-shirt designed by beautiful Jaime Garza. Lots of volunteers. You guys come. All the money, 100%, goes to Global Health Partners and People's Forum. There'll be ways to donate if you can't come. You can watch the concert online by buying a ticket at Constellation. It'll be live streamed. And, it's really a way to get together with people. It's very important in these days to have social, to have fun, to have music, to remember all the good things in life. And this is a great way to celebrate each other with a little side of defiance.
Well, I hope I see you there Sunday. I usually fall asleep by 8 o'clock.
Yeah, me
but I'm going to try to make it.
All right. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it always.
Yeah,
Michael.
you keep up the good work. There's Cuba's a wonderful place. It's, as you pointed out, it made a lot of contributions, musically, sports-wise, health-wise, all kind of ways. It is definitely an island of highly educated people and in pretty good health too, I think. And it's a neighbor to the south that we have abused for too long. So with all that said,